Welcome back to Lobstah Roll 2019, Day 2, our final game of the weekend. Very excited to bring this to you. I am Scarlett O'Hurtia.
I'm Rosetta Stone.
And we are about to watch Houston playing Sacramento. And we want to make sure that we get the opportunity to introduce you to these teams. First of all, though, we want to thank our sponsor, New England Roller Derby Report would like to thank their production sponsor, specifically Sociopath, that is SEWCIO. PATH. Sociopath is a skater-run business offering custom sewn-to-order legwear for teams and individuals, size-inclusive activewear designed to fit you. Sociopath also offers dozens of armbands and helmet cover options for scrimmage and competition. Team discounts are available. And if you would please see Sociopath, that is SEWCIOPATH.ca for more details. Now, Rosetta, would you like to introduce us to Sacramento?
Absolutely, Scarlett. Sacramento today will be playing in blue. So this is Sacramento Roller Derby's Capital Mall Stars. Number 0618, Pink Freud. 1006, Nail Her Swift. 117, She-Ra. 124, Crystal. 1415, Bird Dog. 1492, Conquistadorable. 17, Rhodes Warrior. 1985, Con Artist. 327, NACA. 451, Shock and Auburn. 58, Blushy Lushy. 606, Areola Twister. 618, Pippi Longstumping. 94, Talls. And 970, Narnar Jinx.
And Houston, coming from Houston, Texas, coming into the tournament ranked number 32, I believe. Yep, 32 in WFTDA. We'll be wearing white today, and we will start with their roster. 000 is Black Lung Betty. 21, Jekyll and Heidi. 215, Payo Dews. 221, Lulu Choppet. 3, Pocket Rocket. 31, 2x Force. 43, Diamond Cut Her. 44, Killstoy. Number 5, Hallelujah. 51, Bustin' Beaver. 716, Ruby Ridicule. 89, Arrakis. 9, Engine. 91, Slayer Moon. And 929 is Dropkick.
Thank you, Scarlett. So, Scarlett, you're from Houston. I'm from Sacramento. And I know we've both been working our respective home leagues this weekend. So what can you tell us about Houston's progression through Lobstah Roll this weekend?
So they started off a little bit rough, and I have to be entirely honest, I think there were a lot of factors that played into their day one performance, one of which was the fact that they didn't get into their hotel on Saturday morning / Friday night until 2:30 in the morning.
I could see how that might impact your roller derby game.
Well, especially when you have to play the first game of the day
in a new
just
time
a
zone.
Few hours in a time zone that is an hour ahead of your own. So I think that probably had an impact on that first game. And then anytime you have to play 2 games in a day, you're obviously going to see a certain level of fatigue.
Definitely.
So I'm sure that we were looking at that as for sure. Houston's also working with a shifted roster. This is a fairly new contingent on both the offensive and defensive side than what we have had in the past. Lots of great experience on the track for sure, but seeing people play in different roles than they normally would.
Okay.
For instance, Arrakis, who is a powerhouse jammer, is actually really amazing.
I remember seeing her last year in the jammer rotation.
Amazing utility player, can do it all. So they've been primarily playing her as pivot so that she can kind of do all the things. But we saw them come away with 2 losses on the first day, 1 win today. And we'll see where that leaves them for the rest. What about Sacramento? What have we seen in terms of progress for them?
Similar trajectory, it sounds like, to Houston. Yesterday, Sacramento played Naptown, and they played, of course, home team Boston. Both of them were pretty significant losses. They lost by about 100 points in each game. But today, this morning, Sacramento playing Dublin Roller Derby took the win. They won by 2 points, which is pretty shocking because throughout the weekend, Dublin has really been very effective and won all their other games. Even though Sacramento lost to these other teams, they beat Dublin today. So
that was such a close game, though. Oh my goodness,
that game gave me a heart attack.
Woo, that one was rough.
But it's interesting how you're talking about different people playing different roles in the team because Sacramento is very similar this season. After our first year as a United Sacramento League, we had a number of retirements. About half our charter is not previously on the charter. One player, Pink Freud, was in last year's jam rotation. Now she's working as a blocker and utility player. We've got 2 jammers who for whom this is their first sanctioned tournament.
Oh.
So, yeah, that's Bird Dog and Namaslay. So, big roster shakeup this year. And that said, the game is on. Houston versus Sacramento. A lot of upcoming excitement. We are leading with Naylor Swift in the star for Sacramento.
And that is Slayer Moon is your lead jammer, though, for Houston out in front. Slayer Moon, one of the more petite players on the team, and uses that size to her advantage, is able to hide behind some of those more sizable blockers.
I would not be able to block her because she would just dip away,
yes,
and I would be sad.
And that's exactly what she does. She's very agile and does a lot of the ducking and dodging, and you'll even see in her skater style, she just gets low all the time.
But that's perfect because I think the most effective skaters, especially the most effective jammers, are the skaters who lean into their natural skills.
Mm-hmm.
So,
absolutely.
You know, we're about to see Aerial Twister. She has great stability. She's very fast, and she just bobs and weaves through the pack.
She does, yes.
And she's unstoppable when she does that. So when a skater knows what works for them and just goes with it and develops that, they are amazing.
Well, and similarly, I think that's how a lot of teams develop really strong strategies on defense and offense. And you see that right here, that leaning into what you're good at. Ariella Twister manages to get through on the outside lane with a couple of spin moves around those Houston blockers. Diamond Cutter now trying to bust through that Sacramento defensive contingent in the front at the apex.
And we have Pink Floyd from Sacramento heading to the penalty box, which concerns me because Pink Floyd did have penalty trouble.
She fouled out
this morning in the game against Dublin. Aerial Twister now out of the pack. That's 4 more points.
And Diamond Cutter now out of the pack as well, eligible to score. I have a feeling it's going to be a quick hit it and quit it.
I agree with you, Scarlett. Of course, I said 4 more points. It was the only 4 points. Those were the first 4 points.
Of the game, but I mean, she's had lots of points
They're more
today.
compared to the weekend.
Now, Ariella Twister impressed the heck out of me earlier because toward the end, when it was super close, Dublin and Sacramento, I could see her visibly getting upset because she knew she wanted more. She knew she wanted to crank out more. So in the last 7 jams of the game, she actually jammed for 5 of them, and back to back to back, and really was somewhat responsible for that comeback.
I have so much respect for that, and I asked her about that in the post-game interview, like, how is it to play so many in a row? But she said she prefers it because it keeps her warm.
Okay, well, out on the track now, warm enough in order to get lead jammer status. That is Lulu Choppett for Houston. And for Sacramento, we have Bird Dog still trapped behind that tripod of Houston blockers in the white jerseys. And it looks like a star pass has been executed by Sacramento.
That's right. Rhodes Warrior now trapped behind Payo Dews.
And Bustin' Beaver.
And Bustin' Beaver trying to complete that initial pass. However, Houston already in a position to score. And I think that's Arrakis coming in with offense.
Yes, so Arrakis has been, I mean, we discussed this kind of off mic a little earlier, that Arrakis is that utility player that can do a little bit of everything, and they've been using her a lot as an offensive assist, as a float. And I've seen Boston's Pivot did a lot of that as well in the previous game that they played earlier
Wednesday
today.
Adams?
Yes, Wednesday
She's
Adams.
A very powerful player.
And speaking of Boston, they're the ones that are getting nice and rowdy in the stands,
if
which
you're
we
hearing
love.
all that cheer. So that jam, 3-0 jam. Houston now up to 5 points. Sacramento at 4 points, and we've got 26.5 minutes left in the period.
Now coming into the tournament, well, we'll go over that in a little while. Right now we have Hallelujah jamming for Houston.
It's a great name. Naylor Swift for Sacramento.
Both jammers trying a similar path through the pack, but Hallelujah manages to find daylight first. She's another one of those that's on the shorter side. She might be all of 5 feet tall, if that. And
she looks compact.
She's very compact, but she's powerful. And she uses that stature to her advantage and manages to sneak on through that pack nice and low.
I think that's what she just did. She was able to dip under the blockers. She picked up 3 points. Didn't get that 4th blocker point on kind of a no pass, no penalty.
And a nice follow-through hit there by Engine, and follow-through by 2x-Force, but Swifty does manage to get through that pack and is now on a scoring pass. Bench yelling for Holly to call it off. We're going to call no points for either team on that last pass.
I think that's going to be the name of the game here today. Much like this morning's Sacramento game against Dublin, both teams are just chipping away at the score, trying to get a little bit at a time. I believe the Boston contingent is currently cheering for themselves, Wicked Pisses.
Oh, I was about to take my headset off because I wasn't sure what they were chanting. It was just that generic blah, 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 da, 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 da.
I choose to believe they're cheering for Sacramento.
I will choose the opposite. I'm just kidding. Out on the line now, we have a packet racket jamming for Boston, and I swear that's what it says in the pronunciation guide. I'm not being obnoxious. And for Sacramento, that is once again Ariel Twister.
It took me that whole time you were speaking to figure out what the heck you were talking about.
Oh.
Because what is a packet racket?
Packet racket. It's pocket rocket,
Pocket.
but
now I
look.
understand. It does say pocket rocket. You are right, Scarlett, of course, and I bow to your wisdom as usual.
I don't know if I call it wisdom.
Your ability to read.
Foolishness, essentially. Payo Dues, with some foolishness in the pack, manages to go to the penalty box, and Arrakis doesn't have time to play with that foolishness. Takes the star in Houston's first star pass of the game, as Ariella Twister gets through for 4 points.
And we're seeing a lot of this in this game so far, with jammers just dipping under the whole pack, because Ariella Twister just did that, coming around the outside line on turn 3. Ducked under the blockers, came out of the pack, called off the jam to prevent Arrakis from scoring.
Out next on the jam line, we have a repeat performance here. Slayer Moon jamming once again for Houston.
But it is not a repeat pairing. Crystal now jamming for the first time in this game. Crystal was in the jammer rotation earlier this weekend. She actually got MVP in Sacramento's first game. I see Pink Floyd, Shock and Auburn, and Talls now hanging on to Slayer Moon as they approach the pivot line. Crystal up in the front of the pack, working the Houston blockers, trying to force the no pack, which was her main strategy earlier in the weekend as well. And Pink Floyd now heading to the penalty box, already on her second penalty 7 minutes into this game.
That's a little concerning, again, because we said she fouled out in the previous game this morning. It looks like lead jammer now going to Slayer Moon after about 45 seconds into the jam. Crystal not far behind, though, and looking a bit confused. Looks like she's going to grab a low block penalty.
This is an early power jam now for Houston. Then Slayer Moon, I have a pretty good idea we'll be able to make some real points with this.
Slayer Moon is the highest scoring jammer for Houston. And there's that duck we just talked about. She literally just bobbed down about knee level to everyone else and just took herself out of the engagement zone.
If you're a certain height, you just cannot block that. You have to get there sooner, and it's really just, I'm saying that as a player who's 5'8", so
yeah.
When people do that, it makes me crazy. Slayer Moon, though, just attacking the pack this time.
Engine taking a spill, going backwards, and Slayer Moon with 1 foot backwards, trying to stay in bounds, but gets shoved out in the straightaway. We now have Crystal back in play, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe this is her initial pass. I think she has to repeat that pass.
I believe you're correct, Scarlett. I think she came out of the pack, but got the low block on her way there.
Yeah.
I think we're seeing a stop block being assessed to Houston, but not enough to get Crystal out of the pack.
Jekyll and Heidi heading to the penalty box as the jam is called. Houston coming out of that one with 11 points. Capital Mall Stars held 2-0 on that particular jam. 19-8. Still anybody's game with we have 21.5 minutes left in the first half. We're heading into jam number 7. If you're just now joining us, I'm Scarlett O'Hurtia.
I'm Rosetta Stone.
And we are happy to have you here. Houston is in the white and Sacramento is in the blue. The yelling you were hearing is largely the Boston Roller Derby in the stands.
They're doing what they love best.
Yes, heckle, heckle, heckle. And I'm not going to heckle the skaters out here right now. In the super sparkly pads, that is Diamond Cutter jamming for Houston. But your lead jammer?
That's Naylor Swift. Naylor Swift has been having a really good weekend as a jammer. In their first game of the weekend, she was one of the few people to really have success. Oh my goodness, Arrakis knocking Naylor Swift into the boards.
Telling you she can do it all.
I never doubted, but Arrakis went out of the engagement zone while applying that hit, so Naylor Swift was free to go. It looks like Diamond Cutter took off the star to free herself from the pack. And
looks like we have a penalty being called, but there's a little confusion on the track. Nobody's leaving. So
I can't wait to see the follow-up insubordination penalty then.
Well, maybe it was just a warning.
An errant whistle. Diamond Cutter now back at the pack. Naylor Swift skipping along that outside line. I see the Houston bench saying this was surely a cut.
I'm not a ref, so I'm not going to make that call.
I'm also not going to make that call. I'm reporting what I see.
And we have a star pass. Iraq is taking over as the jammer for Houston, but we did manage to get 2 points on the board for the team in white during that last jam before the star was passed. So Sacramento coming out with a huge jam, 13 points. 13 points, 2 for Houston. We have a tie game, ladies and gentlemen. 21 all with less than 20 minutes left in the first half.
I hope this isn't another game that's going to give me a stroke because it's so close.
Not a stroke, but I'm predicting ulcer, maybe.
Okay. You know, any number of stress symptoms. I see the Houston bench staff out there talking to the refs, but not calling an official review.
That is Snickerdoodle, who was arguing for the foot placement on that potential cutting the track.
Perfect derby name.
And now we've got Lulu Choppet jamming against Ariella Twister for their respective teams. Both jammers grinding through that pack. At least Lulu is. And
a real grind there behind Naka, Talls, and Shock and Auburn.
And Ariella trying to get through that tripod of 2x4s, Ruby Ridicule, and Engine.
I'm very curious about Ariella Twister because I know she got her ankle taped up during the first game today, but it looks like she's skating just fine, so I hope there aren't any injuries lurking beneath the surface.
Well, I have skated with many a screwed up ankle, and K-tape can work wonders, really and truly it can.
Very true.
I've played with stress fractures under K-tape, so never underestimate the tape. Looks like Ariella Twister does manage to get through first, but is not lead jammer. So Lulu Choppet still eligible for lead jammer status. And a beautiful apex jump by Ariel.
Another casual apex jump out here. Ariella Twister, the queen of the casual apex jump.
Casual apex jump going to be Rosetta Stone's new clothing brand.
Yep, coming soon.
That's going to be part of your commercial right there. 2 casual apex jumps
back to back.
And now we've got Engine has accepted the star from Houston and is the jammer of the right now. Beautiful
Okay,
hit.
Lightning Slim.
Hey, that's my buddy.
It's not a criticism.
I have a keychain that says announcer of the right now. So
that's perfect.
Yeah.
Ariella Twister, a moment ago when she was coming out of turn 3, tried to call off this jam only to realize she is not the lead jammer. And our actual lead jammer, Lulu Choppet, has been trapped in this scoring pass. Ariella Twister going for the dip, but not quite making it, getting hit out, and in fact, a cutting penalty drawn on her by that Houston blocker.
And a multiplayer block penalty called on Shock and Auburn.
Tough end to that jam, but
12 points,
can't argue with the results.
Not at all. And now we have a lead change. Sacramento taking over 33-25. Houston comes out with 4 points on that jam. Sacramento with the win on the jam, but a win on the scoreboard.
The penalty box.
Yeah, two players in the penalty box, including their jammer. So we're going to have a power jam start for Hallelujah, as Kilstoy is also in the box for Houston.
That's right, both packs with just 3. A total crush off the jammer line. Houston came in, just smashed the whole pack. And good luck to you.
Oh, it looks like Hallelujah heading to the penalty box for 2 penalties.
Oh my goodness, 2 entire penalties. And the good news here, Ariella Twister has the opportunity to become lead jammer. Well, it's good news to me. It may not be good news to you, Scarlett. Good news is very relative.
I am here for good derby. That's what I'm here for. And I do see Ariella Twister.
We're definitely getting it.
We are for sure. This tournament has been phenomenal in terms of quality of matchups. Ariella Twister now going through on lane 1. Attempts to get past that double team of Kilstoy and Black Lung Betty. Bustin' Beaver tries to come in as an assist, but Ariella manages to get through. Looks like Shock and Auburn going to go right back to the penalty box.
She just left, so I did not see the penalty, but I'm sure she's not happy about it.
And Kilstoy went right back as well. Both were blockers that started this jam in the box.
I will say that happens to me a lot because you get in the penalty box, when you come out, you're like, I'm going to mess everything up. Like, I'm going to make up for lost time. They are going to pay for that penalty. And then you get out there and you
you're
try
like, I'm sloppy.
And then you get a penalty right away. And it's like, God damn it. That happens to me. Like, if I get a penalty, I often get a second penalty. So it's not a good system, and I don't recommend it.
So we have a timeout called on the track. This one by Houston. This timeout is brought to us by...
This timeout brought to us by the Evolved Health Chiropractic and Sports Medicine here in Massachusetts. If you're experiencing pain, discomfort, or just want to feel and move better, Evolved Health Chiropractic and Sports Medicine can help. Using a unique combination of muscle and joint manipulation, physiotherapy, and customized therapeutic exercise, we aim to get you better, faster. Visit our website for more information, www.evolvedhealthchiropractic.com. While we are here...
Are you ready for the after party later tonight?
Sorry, I was momentarily distracted while people are shouting about the after party. And I'm sorry to those of you on the stream who can't join us. But, you know...
Did you say on the stream or on the street?
I don't know. I intended to say stream, and how dare you call me out in this way?
I'm only saying that because I think we would be more than welcoming to
On the
folks
street.
on the
Say,
street. Be
"Come
like,
on
yeah, come party.
down."
Everybody's welcome.
That's true.
And there's a party on the track right now, and Pocket Rocket is your jammer for Houston, and for Sacramento, that is Swifty.
Getting Swifty in here.
And we have a full complement of blockers here momentarily, as both teams starting with one blocker apiece in the box, and Naylor Swift has grabbed lead jammer status.
That's right, Pocket Rocket now exiting the pack on that initial pass. Going to see if that's putting the pressure on Naylor Swift, if she's going to call it off or trust the defense to get the job done while she goes in for another scoring pass. Looks like they're going to run it. Naylor Swift, signature skips along the outside. Unfortunately for her, knocked out.
That was a triple team there of Houston blockers, just one hit,
Just
second hit, third
keep
hit.
pushing.
And they do push her out of bounds. Pocket Rocket manages to grab 4 points on this pass. 4-all on the score right now, but Naylor Swift gonna have to repeat that pass.
Naylor Swift, however, choosing to end the jam. So, however, still a net gain for Sacramento. 7 points on the board. She did manage to pass 3 of those blockers. 4 points on the board for Houston. Brings us to 29-43. Sacramento leading. Sacramento's having a good day.
They are indeed. Less than 15 minutes left on the clock for the first half here. We're heading into jam number 11, and Pink Floyd donning the star for Sacramento. A bit worrying because of earlier penalty trouble and the fact that she's already had 2 penalties here in this game.
True, but since those first 2 penalties, I don't think we've seen her in the penalty box. Pink Floyd also does have a lot of jamming experience, so we can hope that she knows how to play it clean.
Well, Slayer Moon knows how to play it clean, makes it through, grabs lead jammer status as Pink Floyd still tangled in the melee. Narnar Jinx ending up in the penalty box as the star is now passed by Sacramento.
That is Rhodes Warrior taking over as a Sacramento jammer. And Pink Floyd, unfortunately, as we foresaw, in the penalty box once again.
But at least she's not wearing the jammer star. That was my bigger concern.
That's the worst case scenario. If jammer's not on the track, you can't score any
The
points.
pack is off to the races. Like, this is Kentucky Derby style off sprinting.
The other
like they're doing
Derby.
lap tests. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we've seen that kind of a lot, at least from Sacramento this weekend, a few instances of the pack just taking off.
And look, Houston just decides to swarm Rhodes Warrior. They're not going to give an inch for recovery on that.
Probably the right choice.
Yeah, looks like Bustin' Beaver heading to the penalty box along with Black Lung Betty. So Houston down 2 blockers, but the 2 that are left are Arrakis and Peyo Dews, who forced cutting the track penalty on Rhodes Warrior. So we have a power jam for the lead jammer Slayer Moon with 36 seconds left on the jam clock.
Peyo Dews and Arrakis must be a power combo of offense. They are absolutely wailing on this pack. Slayer Moon out of the pack. It looks like skaters went down and she was able to get away, although it does look like the skaters think there should have been a track cutting penalty based on some of those facial expressions.
Yeah,
I'm seeing.
but again,
But
not
that's
a ref.
skaters
You
for
can't,
you.
Yeah, and when you're in the mix, you just can't. It's
You're
not the
very
same.
heightened
Yes.
emotionally.
Yeah. But this time Sacramento does manage to send Slayer Moon out of bounds into the infield, in fact, but not before she can rack up 15 points.
That is a very large amount of points
And
in this game.
Sacramento manages to grab 4, maintains the lead, but only
Just
by 3
barely.
points. Monster jam by Slayer Moon in Houston, and that might be our highest scoring jam of the game so far.
I think you may be right about that, and if not, then it's very close. So I think we're having a timeout right now, perhaps by Houston, or no, it's an official review.
timeout. Oh, official review.
I see the O symbol I'm just waiting. I'm looking at the scoreboard for answers, and it's not revealing them to me.
Who called it?
It
looks like it's Sacramento.
I
Sacramento
would guess
calling it.
they were looking for a cutting penalty.
So on that bit right there, and I do recall seeing when it happened, I'm sure from their point of view it probably looked like she went out of bounds.
Because where their bench is, it looks that way.
But both feet were in bounds from what I saw, and I can't do this without replay, but what my mind replay is showing me is that Slayer actually slid down and was in bounds, had one hand out.
Which you are allowed to have if only one hand goes out.
Correct, but the feet and the knees were in bounds, and once the other players got up to make her recycle because they thought that she had indeed gone out of bounds, she just popped up and kept going. But that was from my point of view.
It's
I'm not
for
a ref.
the officials ultimately to consider, and I see now.
Oh, not an official review. It's just an official timeout.
Oh, for a little chat. It is. So we're not having an official review. We're just having an official chat.
I can't help but wonder if the official chat is to tell them to officially slow down because the refs may be getting tired because they are sprinting nonstop. But you've got some good information for us.
That's true. Lobster Roll is almost over as the first WFTDA recognized tournament of the season, but I have a list of so many tournaments coming up in the next few months. And I won't read them all to you because I don't have all day, but coming up March 22nd through 24th, we have Clover Cup in North Richland Hills, Texas, which is a lovely tournament, and I met Scarlett there last year.
And I'll be there this year.
And she'll be there this year. I will not, however, but it's okay. You should still go. You can live without me. Dust Devil coming up in Tucson, Arizona, March 29th through 31st. Euro Cup, April 12th through 14th in Bury, England, hosted by Rainy City. Siege of Sunni, April 13th through 14th in Rome, New York. And the same weekend, Skate to Thrill in Charles, Missouri. So there is no want for roller derby this season. There are at least 10 tournaments in the next 2 months. Like, you couldn't go to all the tournaments if you wanted to because they overlap.
But why not? I'm just kidding. And we did get news that the official time out that we thought had been on the track has actually been changed over to an official review.
That does not surprise me.
And that is being called by Sacramento. So they very well may be looking at that.
The potential cut.
Yeah. I have mixed feels.
You don't want to believe it.
I have mixed feels.
That's okay. Well, while we are thinking about that situation, let's give a shout out to one of our sponsors. Why be flat when you can sparkle? Of course, Scarlett is already sparkling.
Your skirt is literally lit up. You are sparkling more than anybody here, my friend.
It is hidden to me. It's below me. It doesn't exist. So, refreshingly natural Polar Seltzer has no calories, no sodium, no sugar, no sweeteners, and no gluten. So none of that stuff that you want to avoid. Hashtag Polar Derby for all your seltzer water needs. Well, I'm seeing our captain's return. I don't see happiness on Sacramento faces, so I'm going to guess they did not win that review.
Yeah, we'll wait to get the official word, but I'm sure that everyone on the Twitch stream as well as us here in the venue is ready to get back to the action. In fact, I'm looking at the Twitch chat right now and saying,
are people shouting, play roller derby?
No, actually getting a lot of positives. So much more tiring than the pack runs this fast. Yes, I will concur.
Agreed.
Nice jam, Slayer, says somebody. Woo, and lots of emojis. We see Lightning Slim saying Diamond is like a 1970s sci-fi heroine with those oh-so-sparkly pads, of which she has more than one pair.
Really?
Yes, she's had 2 different pairs this weekend.
That's amazing. That's so smart for tournament weekend.
So lots of shout-outs. And here we go, back to the action. Hallelujah, wasting no time, jumps out in front thanks to that inside lane, grabs lead jammer status. This could be the potential for a lead change here. Pack speeding up, but now comes to a screeching halt. Kilstoy on the bridge as the tripod of Houston defenders, that is 2x4s, Jekyll and Heidi, and Engine holding it down in the front to hold back Ariella Twister.
That's right. Houston is at the front of the pack, and they put on the brakes because they need to stay in play, so they don't have to bleed players off. And with a jammer like Ariel Twister, you want to keep as many people in front of her as possible because she is just too agile.
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking quick, agile, and just
takes no prisoners.
Not here for spiders. And so we...
Spider eggplant emoji.
So then we have Hallelujah being shoved to the infield now on a scoring pass. Both Hallelujah and Ariella Twister.
That's right. Ariella Twister completed her initial pass, but Hallelujah calling off the jam before Ariel can return to the pack. We're seeing 3 points on the board for Houston, which brings us to a tie.
Tie game.
Why do I feel like I'm reliving my morning right now? There's something so familiar that I just can't put my finger on.
Well, I was on that game on house, so I feel your pain.
Feel the same way.
I feel your pain. But out here, nobody's feeling the pain more than the players on the track right now. And that
they're in the most pain.
Right now, we've got Lulu.
Emotional and otherwise.
Lulu Choppet jamming for Houston, going up against Bird Dog for Sacramento. 47 all with 10:45 left in the first half. And Lulu Choppet grabs lead jammer status.
Bird Dog almost got out on the inside. The Sacramento players swarmed the offense, but she got caught up again behind Arrakis. And I was talking to Sacramento before the game, and
Peyo Dews with a gorgeous
oh my
hit.
goodness! One of the comments that Sacramento had about Houston was, a lot of players are just bigger than them.
Yeah.
And Peyo Dews is a great example here. That was a huge hit.
She doesn't care. Look at that face. That is the honey badger face if I've ever seen one.
Absolutely.
Worth it.
She got the job done. And I was talking about this earlier. Sometimes you get a penalty and you go, well. I did what I had to do.
Yeah, I'll serve 30 seconds for that. But look at this. We have a star pass as Con Artist takes over jamming duties for Sacramento. Lulu through for 4 points on that pass. Con Artist approaching the pack, but Houston's going to let it run. Con Artist just barreling through that pack.
Con Artist is a strong blocker, and she can push. I will tell you that. So it makes sense for her to take over as a pivot in this kind of situation when the Houston pack is so strong.
Yeah, and but Con Artist is another one that needs to watch those penalties because she also fouled out of the game earlier today, and there was a little confusion about it that actually rendered a pretty decent holdup. Thank you for the replay. Here we see, I think this is that hit by Peyo Dews and goes flying, and then Peyo immediately pulls back here. So yeah, this is where we see Lulu trapped behind that tripod. And then if you look right kind of in the center of the screen, can't see it too well because they're on the opposite side of the track, but you can see the jammer go flying. Speaking of jammers flying, who is out on the line?
We've got Naylor Swift for Sacramento in blue and Diamond Cutter for Houston in the white. Diamond Cutter twirling that outside line and actually gets through as a lead jammer, but Naylor Swift also very fast, working to eat up the track between them.
I will say one thing I'm noticing with the style on these two jammers. Oh,
she went for the apex jump but tripped on the way out. However, refs are assessing Naylor Swift 1 point
for style. I vote that's for style.
For style, absolutely. Full 4 for Diamond Cutter.
Casual apex jump results in
not so casual.
One casual point.
A casualty apex jump.
Also a great name for a derby brand. And here you see on the replay, Diamond Cutter smashing through, and then the apex jump on the inside lane. Beautifully done. Nice hit there to counter. And then back to the action on the track. We have Pocket Rocket facing off against Ariella Twister.
Pretty formidable matchup, and I see Pocket Rocket finding no recourse from Con Artist and Nar Jinx, anchored by Gone! But going into the jam, the score 65-52. Houston with a 13-point lead, so it's still an incredibly close game. Ariel Twister avoiding the cutting penalty, recycling into the apex out of turn 1. That's Arrakis with the drawback, but Arrakis stopped paying attention for just a second.
You can't do that.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
Ariel slipped by, but Peyo Dews knocked her out. And now Pocket Rocket, your lead jammer for Houston.
Peyo again to the box, but again with the face that says, meh, worth it.
Peyo don't care.
Oh, beautiful.
She's making people pay their dues.
The flex on that spin right there by Ariel, just, I don't know how to describe it, kind of C-shaped around, I believe that was Black Lung Betty.
She'll just contour herself
That's
like
what
to
she did.
you. And
like a mold.
Yeah, she's amazing. And, Scarlett, sometimes people say, how do you feel all the time? But when you're talking about roller derby, but this game has so much to talk about. I think we could fill, twice the game time just because there's so much going on the track. We're not able to get to it all. All the hits, the footwork. This is an amazing game.
And this is also why we're super grateful for the video feed that is up live, because then you can see all the action for yourself and you don't have to rely on our
But don't take my word for it.
There's video, and here's video of Slayer Moon jamming for Houston, facing off against Crystal for Sacramento.
Crystal up at the front of the pack again, trying to push. I'm seeing Crystal head toward the penalty box though. I'm not seeing the hand signal. I can't remember what that hand signal is.
Legal contact.
Illegal contact. Okay. Well, I'm
there
I go,
some
failing
contact.
that rules test.
There's some contact right there. Slayer Moon getting ping-ponged up front. Between Shock and Auburn and Pink Floyd, I believe. Slayer getting stuck at turn 4.
This is a very challenging pack for Slayer Moon to try to work through. Tall's probably one of the best blockers in the league, and well, not probably, she is one of the best blockers in the league, and her footwork is phenomenal.
That took a full minute for Slayer Moon to get through.
That's
and grab
a lot of work.
And grab lead jammer status. However, effective penalty kill by Sacramento as Crystal now back into the fray. Slayer now on a scoring pass as Peyo Dews taking out the pivot 451 from Sacramento. That is Shock and Auburn, who now has star in hand.
And now on head. Peyo Dews is trying to murder people today.
No.
Just
lightly maimed.
I mean it in
Just
the
gently
best
maimed.
way possible. She is
She is a
destroying
mom.
people with those hits. I mean,
She is a mom and she is a
it's
children's book
scary
author, I'll have
from
you
here.
know.
Okay, I'm sorry.
But
she
she's going
is
back
going
to
to the penalty box again, let it be
Oh,
known.
goodness.
So,
We're going to have to check on penalties at halftime, aren't we?
yeah, we are going to have that conversation. So, Shock and Auburn scoring 4 points as the pivot now.
Pink Floyd, beautiful follow-up. Sees that Slayer stumbled just a little bit there and chased her down.
So 4 points up for Houston to match Sacramento's earlier 4. That brings us to 73-56. Houston pulling away just a little bit on the scoreboard.
But that was an evenly matched jam right there, 4 all.
And we've got just about 4 minutes left in the half, which I'm surprised to see because I feel like no time has passed at all.
It's just that fast.
It is moving.
Yeah, just so fast. And these two jammers move fast. This is Diamond Cutter in the sparkly pads on the inside lane. And Swifty, a.k.a. Naylor Swift, if you want to get technical.
Maybe I do.
Diamond Cutter now through that pack and on a scoring pass. Swifty not too far behind. We have a 4-3 pack advantage for Sacramento, and the pack speeding up. Houston sowing chaos.
Absolutely.
In that
Sacramento got
straightaway.
whipped up, and Diamond Cutter took advantage. And something I'm seeing Sacramento do a lot in this game, we saw Diamond Cutter get out on the inside after a hit from She-Ra, but a lot of the hits coming in from the Sacramento blockers are also taking the blocker out of play. So the jammer's free to go, and I think the Houston jammers are really taking advantage of that and having the track awareness to know who's out, who they've passed, and when to get back in.
That's one of those nuances that takes some time to develop.
Very difficult to learn.
And two players that are very well versed in that are Lulu Choppet and Ariella Twister, your jammers of record at the moment.
Very true.
We have a penalty, I believe, was being called. Just joking. Oh no, that's Jekyll and Heidi being called out on a penalty as Ariella Twister is now your lead jammer for Sacramento.
Ariel Twister trying to feint to the outside, but doesn't quite work. And now she's through on the inside. That's 4 points. Lulu Choppet still trapped in the pack on the initial pass.
2x4s, Black Lung Betty and Jekyll and Heidi, all 3 in the box. Black Lung Betty released as Ariella hits that pack and has absolutely no resistance, like a hot knife through butter.
I can't figure out what happened because the pack was directly behind the bunch of officials, and I just saw Ariel come out of the pack, and apparently no one touched her. That is 4 more points. That was a big jam for Sacramento. 12 points, bringing our score 77-68. Houston now with just a 9-point lead and 2 minutes left on the period clock.
77-68. That was a monster jam for
in
Sacramento.
a game like this where we're not even to 100 points in the first half, yeah, that's 12 points is a huge
Not
jam.
even 200 points in the first
I
half.
said not even 100 points.
Not even to 100 points.
Not-
Okay.
yes.
I thought you said not even 200
Not even
points.
200 points. What are we doing? I thought we were playing roller derby today.
Well, that jammer lap point, just changed the game.
It has changed the game. The scores this weekend I feel a little lower, and I think it's because
It's defense, baby. It's defense,
It is
defense, defense.
defense.
Speaking of which, Sacramento's defense on the upswing here. We've got Swifty as your lead jammer. Hallelujah, trying to break through that pack up in the front at turn 1. Does get through. Both jammers now on a scoring pass. Swifty tries to bounce off of Arrakis and does manage to stay in bounds. Beautiful track awareness there by Naylor Swift.
And that's what we've been seeing from Swifty in this whole game. She's been skipping along the lines and just managing to stay in, although I think Houston has an opinion about that. They're calling an official review, and if I were to guess, they are going to try to get a track cut assessed to Naylor Swift.
Where would you assume that would have happened? Maybe in that straightaway where
think
there was that those series of follow-up hits?
I think probably in the straightaway because she was bouncing and right on the line, or right close to the line, and from the Houston perspective, maybe it looked like she went out. I'm not here to watch people's feet that closely, so I can't personally tell you what happened.
Not
but
our job.
that's
Not our job.
My intuition is that's what they are going to have a problem with.
Well, on that last jam, Sacramento came away with 4. We currently have a 5-point game, 77-72. Houston in the lead, and this official review is brought to you by Evolved Health Chiropractic and Sports Medicine. If you are experiencing pain, discomfort, or just want to move better, check out Evolved Health Chiropractic and Sports Medicine at evolvedhealthchiropractic.com. Also thanks to Cambridge School of Culinary Arts, offering professional culinary and pastry training programs, recreational cooking classes for all, and private cooking or baking classes for family parties and corporate events. Visit cambridgeculinary.com for more information.
I feel like maybe I need to take a pastry class.
I would love to. I was looking at your Instagram and noticed that you attempted choux pastry. I myself am a keen amateur baker, and choux has become one of my recent obsessions, mainly because I'm all about the creme pâtissière.
I mean, who isn't? I had actually never made choux before, and I made chocolate eclairs for my cookbook club.
Nice. You have a cookbook club.
We started a cookbook club. It's mostly with Sacramento teammates, and we pick a cookbook every month. And we did the Harry Potter cookbook last month.
That's awesome. Just like these jammers on the track, we've got Ariella Twister, your lead jammer for Sacramento. Pocket Rocket not far behind for Houston.
Ariel getting knocked to the outside in the turn, but she is not taking the risk. She calls off the jam. I believe this is a 0-point jam on both sides, but I'm not seeing both jam refs with a hand in the air. I think they are discussing it. I see Shock and Auburn out there making the
3.
what gesture.
Looks like 3 points for Sacramento.
Which should bring...
That's 75-77, so we have a 2-point jam. 2-point game, excuse me. And we got word on that official
review?
We have that official review was called by Houston, looking for a cutting the track penalty, just as we thought, and the no call will stand. And now standing up front as the lead jammer is Diamond Cutter for Houston. Beautiful spin move though to the inside by Naylor Swift.
She just did a 360, basically.
360 on the toe stops, no less. Largely vertical.
When I come back in the next life, maybe I want to be Naylor Swift. Just putting it out there.
Perhaps.
I think we are at the halftime. So a 4-point jam for Houston, bringing us to 81-75. Sacramento trailing by just 6 points. So I think we're going to have a very exciting second half ahead of us, Scarlett. And before we go to the break, I want to tell you about one of our sponsors. New England Roller Derby Report would like to thank their production sponsor, Sociopath. That's SEWCIOPATH. Sociopath is a skater-run business offering custom sewn-to-order legwear for teams and individuals. Size-inclusive activewear designed to fit you. Sociopath also offers dozens of armband and helmet cover options for scrimmage and competition. Team discounts are available. Please see sociopath.ca for more details.
We'll be back after this break. We'll see you in about 10 minutes.
Sorry, we're getting information from our producer.
We're talking into my phone, though. Well, I thought you were still setting stuff up.
Technical situation is happening. All right, so
We'll just do
we're
both.
in a power start for Sacramento. Aerial Twister looking to take advantage, and she is out, your lead jammer. Scarlett's getting us established with some headphones here.
We're back
Are we
live?
back? Apparently we're back live on the air, so we're going to switch. Come back to Twitch.
Okay, so everybody come back to Twitch. It seems like we're live. Yep, we got footage. Okay, we're going back to Twitch, Derby Twitter, and right as an injury happens immediately in front of us. So those of you that lost us for a second, we apologize. We had a technical difficulty. Our power went down, and we are now going to go back onto Twitch, and we have an official timeout on the track.
All right, folks. So since you missed us for the first 7 minutes of the second half, no big deal, just 7 minutes of a very tight game. Current score 99-81, Houston in the lead. The first jams up until, so the first 5 jams of the half, Houston got lead jammer, picked up a few points, basically edged the score forward. The last jam, we saw a power start for Sacramento with Pocket Rocket of Houston in the penalty box. Ariella Twister getting out, getting lead jammer status, but ending the jam on the ground, looking injured. She's now off the track. Looks like she's taking a minute to reset. So before the power went out, we were talking about penalties coming into the second half.
We'll come back to that in just a second. Right now, we have Slayer Moon facing off against Shock and Auburn out there on the track in jam number 7. Score is 99-81. Houston in the lead.
Shock and Auburn, we saw her take a turn as a jammer in the game against Dublin today, but Shock and Auburn, not usually a jammer, so she is often a pivot, and now she has passed the start to current pivot Talls, who will be taking over as a jammer.
Give it a little stumble in the apex, but a quick recovery. Slayer Moon takes 4 points on that pass.
Talls now out of the pack on the initial pass, putting the star on, getting in a position to score points. Slayer Moon getting some offensive help from 2x4 to get around Conquistadorable. That's 2 points, and then she calls off the jam, feeling the pressure, 4 points now. Calls it off under pressure from Talls.
Houston passes the century mark, 107-81. Looks like both teams have their official review remaining. We still have 3 timeouts for Sacramento, 2 for Houston for the remainder of the game. And thank you everyone for your patience that are joining us on Twitch. We apologize for the technical difficulties. Our power actually went out to the stream. I tweeted it, and we did a quick live video on
true professional.
We did it
Scarlett
live.
whipped out her phone.
We did it live, and now doing it live on the track is Hallelujah and Naylor Swift for their respective teams.
That's right. We've got the pack coming out of turn 2. Turn 2, Hallelujah, the first out. She's your lead jammer. Naylor Swift caught in the pack, but the pack is in motion. And now, it looked like Naylor Swift was going to get out, but it's a high block penalty. Another power jam for Houston. This is some Houston momentum here as we kick off the first. Why did I forget about words? The second half, as it's usually known.
I thought you were going for first portion of the second half, which I can totally get
Sure,
behind.
that would have been a perfect recovery if only.
Well, and you know, we saw momentum in Sacramento's favor on toward the end of the first half for sure. And there you see Hallelujah doing that move that her sister Slayer Moon actually does a fair bit of too, where the torso is leaning against the opponent while the feet and the legs are completely facing outwards. Lady Trample does a lot of that with a C shape to the outside.
Taking advantage of the pressure from the blockers.
Yeah. Like we talked about, playing into your strengths. We'll play into the motion, go with the physics.
Right, and at the end of this jam here, I saw a cutting motion from Ref Don Scorleone, but then I also saw, I think, the blocking with a head motion. So I don't know if Naylor Swift got 2 penalties in that jam or just they reassessed what they were doing. So for Sacramento's sake, I hope it's just 1 penalty because a minute of jammer penalty is not what they need at this moment in time.
Yeah. So 7 points for Houston on that last jam, 114-81. We now have Diamond Cutter facing off against all by her lonesome, excuse me, because Swifty is still in the penalty box.
Right. So Diamond Cutter has the opportunity to become lead jammer pretty much uninhibited. Sacramento sending another blocker to the penalty box. They're now down 2 in a power jam. not an ideal position to be in, Scarlett.
Not for Sacramento, but for Houston, it's great because then Diamond Cutter can just blaze through those remaining 2 Sacramento blockers, and Houston can completely go on offense at this point. But Swifty and Con Artist right back into the fray as Diamond Cutter manages to eke out 4 points on that first scoring pass.
Yep, and Con Artist coming in with an eye to offense, trying to make up for some lost time, but Naylor Swift getting recycled by that tough Houston pack, despite her best efforts. Diamond Cutter now ready to finish another scoring pass, coming out with 4 more points.
All right, gang, we've had a request on Twitch, to provide the score more frequently. So currently 122-81. Houston ahead with 8 points in that last jam. 19 and a half minutes left in the game. We're heading into jam number 10. Houston in the white, Sacramento in the blue. By the way, I'm Scarlett O'Hurtia.
Why is that a question, Scarlett? But all the same, I'm Rosetta Stone.
Well, it's because it's the second half, and we came back for like 2 seconds, and then stream went boop.
There was a lot of chaos here, a little bit of panic, and I did receive a number of text messages.
Oh my God, what's up with the stream?
Basically, yes.
Well, we're back, and Lulu Chop it back on the track along with Ariella Twister.
A nice bump out by Narnar Jinx, knocking Lulu Chop it out to the outside, but Lulu back on the track trying to get through. We have yet to see a lead jammer emerge. We're about 25 seconds into this jam, which isn't forever, but it's kind of a long time as these things go.
Well, considering we've seen jams thus far where the entirety of the jam was less than 30 seconds, that's a bit.
Yeah. And now Ariel Twister out of the pack. She's a lead jammer, dipping around to that outside, but now trapped behind Payo Dues, and I believe that's Black Lung Betty.
I can't see right now.
Well, we'll take it as
I
fact.
don't. Well, yeah, that is BLB. Sorry.
And Arrakis now in the star. Was there a star pass, Scarlett?
There was indeed a star pass. We started this jam with Lulu Choppet as the jammer, and then look at this. Immediately after Arrakis receives the star and gets through on that initial pass, Lulu Choppet sent to the box as a blocker. So good timing. We saw something similar happen in the first half with Pink Floyd. So interesting shift of events there. Sacramento coming out of that jam with 4 points, 122-85.
You know, I think when we see players shift roles within the jam, it can be very hard to adjust in the moment.
Yeah.
And that's why you often get the penalty for the jammer who just passed the star, because they're trying to adjust to an unusual role and just fit back into the pack. But it's not easy at all. And I know myself, when I go out as a jammer, very infrequently, I tend to get penalties because I don't know what I'm doing.
I don't know what to do with my hands, but these players know what to do with their feet. Bird Dog jamming for Sacramento, Pocket Rocket for Houston. Score is currently 122-85. We're heading into, this is jam number 11.
And I will say this is the widest score differential we've seen so far. Houston has pulled ahead here in the second half.
But again, it's been those little bitty, chipping away one jam at a time, 3, 4, 8 points at a time. No really huge, 20-point plus jams.
No definitive jams.
Yeah. And this might be a definitive jam, though, because
absolutely.
Sacramento's jammer, Bird Dog, currently heading to the penalty box for cutting the track penalty, and Pocket Rocket has grabbed lead jammer status.
That's the Bostonian pronunciation.
Hey, that's what she put on the pronunciation guide. I'm only fulfilling skater wishes.
That's what you're supposed to do. You're doing your job. So we've got Con Artist and Shock and Auburn trying to put a stop to this rocket up in the apex, but it looks like a penalty.
Forearm penalty on Con.
Yeah, breaking up that blocking duo. Con now heading to the penalty box, trading out with Crystal and Bird Dog, who are exiting. Pocket Rocket in position to score again, but Shock and Auburn trying to hold her back.
We got whistles being blown all over the place. A forearm penalty called on Lulu Choppet as a blocker, and she looks quite shocked. Oh my goodness.
Oh, me?
Oh, me? How did I do that? 4 points so far for Pocket Rocket. It looks like Bird Dog now out on that initial pass, eligible to score points as Pocket Rocket gets through, calls the jam quite quickly after grabbing 4 more points. Houston at 130, Sacramento at 85 after 8 points to 0. Houston coming out on top of jam number 11.
That wasn't as big of a point gain as it could have been for a
Right.
power jam with
Yeah.
an extra blocker in the box.
Yeah.
Although, obviously, still Houston doing what they need to do to edge forward and make this less of a close game, more definitive for them. I think we're in a team timeout right now. Sacramento taking a timeout, most likely taking a moment to rethink strategy for the last quarter of this game and keep the game from running away from them. For Houston, it's an opportunity to rest and reflect on what they're doing right, because right now they're doing it.
I think both teams are doing a lot of things right. It's not necessarily one side or the other, but there are definitely some things that could be improved upon.
Sure.
And build on those strengths rather than focusing on your weaknesses. Play to your strengths. And, I mean, that's how some of the most innovative strategies in Derby are created. I remember talking to one of the Victoria players a couple years ago at Champs and finding out that the whole way that the brace tripod had come to be was because Bianca Sciaretta could not do a turnaround. I mean, couldn't do a T-stop or a turnaround toe stop to save her life.
And
but
here
she
we are,
could,
everyone's
or plow.
brace.
It was a plow, actually. She couldn't do a plow stop to save her life. So it was just like, forget it. We'll flip around backwards and do a toe stop.
And
so
here we are. They've completely, re-engineered how we play this game.
Absolutely.
Just by saying, how can
play
we
to your strengths.
How can we do this in a way that doesn't make us miserable?
Well, there's a strength right there. Slayer Moon jumping by on the outside lane did hop over a leg of an opponent in order to grab lead jammer status, but not far behind. Naylor Swift now nailing her way through that pack, grabs 4 points.
It's a
Houston as well.
Jam. We're Hallelujah, or excuse me, that is Slayer Moon. You said they were sisters, right?
They are, yeah. Slayer Moon is the older sister, has
Okay.
been playing for
Then
a fair bit longer.
I don't feel too bad for accidentally confusing them in this moment. However, I do apologize. So
one of them has pink hair,
okay.
and one of them is blonde.
That's fair. I just saw small jammer in Houston colors. I'm making this worse. I should stop.
Slayer also has some pretty distinctive ink on her bag, whereas I don't think Holly has any. But anyway, back to the action on the track with our current skaters, including Hallelujah, who we were just talking about. But your lead jammer with a hop, skip, and a jump over engine is Ariella Twister.
And I think this is the first jam we've seen Ariel in since she looked a little wounded at the end of.
A little slow to get up.
Yeah.
Maybe winded.
Absolutely. But she seems as unstoppable as ever right now. She jumped to the straightaway to get out of the pack. She scored 4 points and kept Houston off the board. So that brings us to 134 to 93. Houston in the lead. We have just under 14 minutes left in the half.
Yeah, forget about the casual apex jump. That was a casual straightaway jump.
That seems to be. I see Ariel Twister and Naylor Swift jump the straightaway. Really. Too frequently.
Well, look on the jam line right now. We have Pink Floyd just itching to launch out into the fray, and Diamond Cutter facing off against her. And after a chasse to the inside, Diamond Cutter manages to get a forearm penalty. So this will be a power jam for Sacramento. Golden opportunity to make up some space.
Absolutely. Good opportunity to have a jammer with a lot of experience like Pink Floyd out here, who is now your lead jammer. So I see Pink Floyd smiling as she comes around the Sacramento bench, lighting up. They are excited. We've got the Houston pack up front. We have some tough blockers. I see Arrakis out there laying a hit on Pink Floyd. But the whole Sacramento pack coming in to cause chaos. And Pink taking 3 points before calling off the jam, trapping Diamond Cutter in the penalty box.
No penalty.
No penalties. Good job, Pink. We salute you.
That's terrible. I'm sorry. We don't mean to pick on it. It's just penalties have been quite problematic for both of these teams in the games that they've played previously today.
Right.
Houston has cleaned up a lot on their jammer penalties, though, because that was a huge challenge for them in their game earlier today. So nice job cleaning up there. Sacramento as well. Now a slightly different strategy right out of the gate, as Ariella Twister is your only jammer on the track.
That's right. Sacramento with a power start. Letting Ariel hit the pack, and then try to get the blockers to commit, I think, before the Sacramento blockers came in to play offense. But now Ariel on her scoring pass, I see Pippi long stomping coming in for the offense. In the back, the rest of the Sacramento pack hanging on to Diamond Cutter, star in hand.
Oh, nice hit there. Ariel actually kind of did a standing backbend, if you will, to the inside, and then is traversed to turn 3 by 2x4s.
Yeah, I said earlier Ariel was doing kind of like matrix maneuvers, and I've said in the past she operates on like almost a ragdoll physics.
Well, I've seen, we have a couple of jammers like that as well. Diamond Cutter now trying to make her way through the pack, has Star in hand, and Conquistadorable, beautifully done. Last line of defense trying to hold Diamond Cutter back, but Diamond is now through on that initial pass as Ariel ends up shoved to the outfield, and it looks like Kilstoy going to head to the penalty box for a forearm penalty. So Houston going to start this next one with a 4-3 pack disadvantage. Sacramento hitting the century mark with 4 points on that last jam.
That's right, we're now at 134 to 100, Houston leading by 34. And I didn't even have to think to do that math problem. So we have just under 11 minutes left on the game clock, and not a huge point differential. Remains to be seen whether Houston will take it away or whether Sacramento will catch up. We're seeing Naylor Swift now out as a jammer for Sacramento, up against Pocket Rocket of Houston.
I want you to say it the way the pronunciation
Pocket Rocket.
Pocket Rocket.
Pocket Rocket. I don't.
It's
I reject
fine.
it.
It's fine.
Why do you make me do terrible things, Scarlett?
I didn't know it was that terrible to fulfill skater wishes. But anyways, Pocket Rocket out.
All right, passive aggressive.
There was nothing passive about that. That was directly aggressive.
Aggressive.
Speaking aggressive on the track, we have Pocket Rocket still trying to get through that Sacramento tripod in the back, while Naylor Swift trying to break up that tripod of Houston defenders in the front, looking for some offensive assistance there from, looks like Con Artist jumping in on the offense.
Looks like a penalty now, breaking up the pack. Narnar Jinx going to the penalty box. Sacramento drawing the pack back, rewinding time and going back to turn 2, while Pocket Rocket almost out of the pack. She skips around Shock and Auburn. She-Ra hits her out, but it looks like Pocket Rocket free to go all the same, because She-Ra now getting assessed with a penalty. Pocket Rocket scoring 4 points. Now looking for more.
Pocket Rocket gets through for a full 4. And Sacramento going to start this next jam with one lone blocker on the track.
Oh boy, that's good luck, lone blocker, who I already knew but now see is Talls. Because if you can only send one, Talls is who you sent. I don't make the rules, I just observe them. So Talls very excited to hold back Lulu Choppet on her own, and Sacramento fielding Ariel Twister as the jammer. In the penalty box, we currently have Narnar Jinx standing, She-Ra and Shock and Auburn, the pivot, sitting for Sacramento. Houston, in contrast, has all their players on the track.
All the players.
All of them, just every last one.
So it looks like we have a timeout on the track.
I
think it's an official timeout, but nonetheless, this official timeout brought to you by Bruised Boutique, the world's largest Derby store, made for Derby by Derby. Visit them at bruisedboutique.com, and you can also see their brick and mortar location in Nashua, New Hampshire. No, when we had all the confusion at the beginning talking about penalties, when our power went out and so on and so forth, we didn't actually get to give the update for what happened in the first half. That train may have passed, but going into the second half, what was our penalty situation?
We only had 2 skaters in danger. So Pink Floyd of Sacramento had 4 penalties before the second half started, so 20 minutes ago. Payo Dues on Houston, also at 4 penalties. Everyone else was at 2 or fewer penalties, which I think for both of these teams was a big improvement on the penalty situation.
Yeah, both teams have improved drastically, for sure.
And I know I say this all the time, but penalties really make or break the game, especially your jammer penalties, because you cannot advance the score when the jammer's in the box. So I know when Sacramento heads to tournaments, we see a lot of penalties. I'm not sure if it's always the same with Houston, but I know that's a big hurdle for the Sacramento team.
I think it is for a lot of teams that don't get as much interleague play, because learning those nuances of if
It's
you get
the higher intensity
yeah,
play.
if you get too used to skating with people that you skate with all the time, and you learn all the little quirks and this and that, and sometimes those penalties happen to be incidental contact, and
Sure.
that comes from interacting in some way because of a height differential or a
Right, like we were
speed
talking
variation.
about having the really small
Exactly,
jammers versus
exactly.
taller blockers.
Yeah, I used to have a junior skater that because she was so small, she would skate through the pack super low and would constantly get blocking with the head penalties, even though that wasn't the intention. She was just really
She's just
small.
really low.
Yeah, it just happened that way. So happens.
Just headbutting everyone.
Headbutting, all the things, and then one time got her nose broken by one of her fellow teammates
Oh boy.
with a shoulder. So anyway, I digress, and we would love for you to digress to check out some more of our sponsors, including Polar Seltzer. Why be flat when you can sparkle? Refreshingly natural Polar Seltzer has no calories, no sodium, no sugar, no sweeteners, and no gluten. Use the hashtag Polar Derby. And if you are tweeting at all about lobster roll here, we ask that you use the hashtag BRD Lobstah. That is with an AH roll. And on a roll out in front, who is our lead?
That is Houston Jammer Slayer Moon, and I'm not surprised that she's got lead jammer status with one blocker to beat, but Sacramento starting to return to the track. Narnar Jinx now back out to rejoin Talls. Ariel Twister still working that initial pass.
Jacqueline Heidi going on the defensive for sure. Follow up there by Engine as Slayer busts on through at turn 3 for 4 points. Now Ariel through for a initial pass, now on a scoring pass.
And good news for Sacramento, the penalty box has cleared out. We've got a full complement of blockers on both sides. Ariel racing through the pack, looking for a couple extra points. Our jam ref says 1 point for Sacramento on that pass, 4 for Houston, bringing Houston to a total of 6 in this jam. Our overall score, 148 to 101, and just under 8 minutes left in the game.
Very close match. See, the scoreboard it's one of those classic situations where the scoreboard is not indicative of the action that we're actually seeing on the track, including what we have coming up here with Lulu Choppet facing off against Nail Her Swift. Jammers taking opposing pass through that pack. Lulu getting stuck in that sad place once again as Swifty gets shoved to the infield. I believe that was a takeout by Black Lung Betty.
Right, and with Lulu Choppets, we're seeing her work the pack back and forth from into outside line, trying to get them to break apart.
Well, she manages to do so, finds some daylight on the outside right at turn 2, grabs lead jammer status, but not far behind is Swifty.
That's right, Naylor Swift took the cap off to get out of the pack, less than 20 feet behind now, but feeling heat. Lulu Choppets calling the jam off. 1 point for Houston, no points for Sacramento in that jam. Looks like Sacramento now taking a team timeout with 6 minutes and 48 seconds left on the clock.
So seeing the Twitch stream, lots of interaction here. Pickle Shipper, Pickle Piper? Sorry.
Pickish Piper.
I'm just not going to say names.
That's actually Sacramento skater Bon Appetit.
Oh, how nice. So good hold, Lushy and Stomp. And on Kista, so nicely done to getting shout outs for the Sacramento team.
Sacramento just loves chatting on live streams, I think.
Who doesn't?
I
Come
mean,
on.
true, but I know whenever I start talking a bunch about any games we're watching for Sacramento, everyone gets super invested.
149 to 101, Sacramento passing that century mark, of course, as we mentioned. We have a team timeout currently called by Sacramento. They have 1 additional clock stoppage and their official review remaining on the board. Houston with 2 timeouts and 1 official review remaining. 6:48 left in the game. We are heading into jam number 19. Again, I'm Scarlett O'Haria.
I'm Rosetta Stone.
And we are excited to bring you the last 6.5 minutes of this game, our final game of Lobstah Roll 2019. Hallelujah jamming for Houston.
Hallelujah almost getting free on that outside line, and I said almost, but then immediately she did. She followed the offense, but actually Hallelujah not lead. Crystal not far behind with a lead jammer status, and we have a race.
Now we're doing snake drills. That's what that looked like as the path went around. We're just
it's in a
sprinting,
single
guys.
file line. This is a lot of effort.
Especially this late in the game,
Holly-
last game of the weekend. Woo.
Hallelujah hitting her hips, trying to call off the jam, only to realize she's not the lead jammer. Crystal coming into the pack, trying to get those points.
Killstoy trying to take Crystal out to the inside. Looks like Holly's actually going to come out on top of that one with 3.4 points.
Well, that was the choice.
That backfired a little bit, but that's okay. Houston takes 4, Sacramento with 2, 153 to 103, 50 points separating our two teams as we have less than 6 minutes left in the game.
Yeah, I have a feeling in that last jam, Sacramento said we better get to the front and buy time for our jammer, but it just turned into a race and no one stopped.
It's one of those races where nobody wins.
That's true.
Diamond Cutter now jamming for Houston.
She's up against Aerial Twister. And I see Pippi Long stomping up front, working the offense for Aerial. Houston's pivot, number 9, Engine, returning to the track from the penalty box, looking to make room for Diamond Cutter.
Look at this, Aerial Twister making room for herself on that
She's
inside
a strong,
lane.
independent jammer who
Strong,
don't need no blockers.
Don't need no blockers, just for a casual apex jump. Grabs lead jammer status and does it again.
Speaking of apex jumps, the whole dang apex.
And the whole dang pack for sure. Engine did receive the star from Diamond Cutter on that last pass, but did not get it on the helmet before the jam was called. 153 to 107. Sacramento putting 4 on the board, shutting Houston out.
We've got 4.5 minutes left in the game. If Sacramento wants to win it, unfortunately, 4-point jams are probably not going to be enough with the limited time remaining to them.
Not with that attitude.
Well, okay, sorry.
Just kidding.
They can't hear me. I'm not on the bench.
Pocket Rocket jamming for Houston.
Not sure you're pronouncing that correctly, Scarlett.
I probably am not, but I will pronounce Nail Her Swift correctly, who is now out of the pack, along with your lead jammer, Pocket Rocket.
And these are two fast jammers. I can see the crossovers lurking in that stance. So Pocket Rocket hitting the pack first. Nail Her Swift very close behind, and it's a zero-sum jam, no points on either side.
They actually look really similar as they're coming off the track. Like they're both
Their
very
build
similarly
is
built.
pretty similar.
Yeah. But, you know, when you have that close of a matchup, that evenly matched, a 0-0 jam sometimes, that's a win.
Best you can do.
Now out on the jam line, Slayer Moon going against Ariella Twister, two very jumpy, agile jammers with some fast footwork and a lot of spinning is what I'm anticipating.
I think you're going to be right about that, and it looks like Slayer Moon out first on that outside line. That outside turn, a very dangerous spot for the pack.
Yeah, especially when you have jammers as agile as these two. Slayer, of course, cutting to the outside with a bit of an eagle and then on one foot gets through, grabs points on that first scoring pass. Very little resistance here on the inside lane as she went around turn 2, grabbed those 4 points. And we have a team timeout called by Sacramento with under 3 minutes left in the game. Houston takes 4 on that last jam. Sacramento shut down 157 to 107. We just seem to be holding at that like 50-point spread mark.
Yeah, Houston kind of took it away at the beginning of this half, and then Sacramento readjusted a little bit again, and now they're holding steady with that point differential. Unfortunately for Sacramento, they haven't been able to creep back up into the Houston lead, but obviously that's good news for Houston. They want to end the weekend with a win. Anything you can tell us about the Twitch chat, Scarlett?
Seeing people talking about the speed and
the speed is real.
Yeah, and their individual skills and capabilities here. And casually, Apex has now officially been coined. It is now a thing that they can command to look at with a question. And Rosetta doesn't believe me, so she's looking at the screen now.
What have I done?
Trademark that, Rosetta Stone.
I'm going to go home and buy the domain.
Lulu Chop It now jamming for Houston against Naylor Swift for Sacramento.
Got a press of blockers as they come to the pivot line, but Naylor Swift, the first to emerge.
Beautiful.
I think this might be the first, well, that might not be true. We're not keeping stats anymore. I was going to say the first lead jammer status in a little while, but I'm not sure. and I don't want to be wrong.
Darn power outage just shifted everything.
It really broke up our flow here, but we are professionals,
Well,
and we're making it work.
Well, speaking of breaking up the flow, I think they're really hoping to break up this pack right here so they can flow right on through. Lulu Choppet has removed the star and is trying to get through. Now through on that initial pass, eligible to score points as Narnar Jinx and Ruby Ridicule heading to the penalty box. Beautiful jammer takeout by Jacqueline Heidi.
I'm waiting to see if there will be a penalty on that, and I couldn't say whose fault it was, but it looks like Jacqueline Heidi going to the penalty box because I saw.
It looked like a direction of gameplay penalty is what was called, but I'm not sure about that because she was moving forward
Right,
when the hit was executed.
It was more of like a trip, but I think under our 2019 rules, tripping, unintentional or otherwise, is punishable by penalty. So I'm not exactly sure what the officials on the ground saw, but from here, it looked like pretty big trip.
Well, from here I see a 2-all pack as both teams have blockers in the penalty box, and looks like Hallelujah is out of the pack but is not lead jammer. That honor belongs to Pink Floyd.
Pink Floyd looking.
What do I do?
She skated half the track staring at her bench with her hands in the air in the international gesture of, do you want me to end this?
We have an official review called by Sacramento with 1 minute and 9 seconds left on the period clock, 157 to 111. Looks like Sacramento has chipped away just a little bit at that point spread. We no longer are at that 50-point mark. And as we pause for this official review called by Sacramento, we've got our house announcers, specifically Crimson Alchema, a.k.a. CAC, who is trying to rile up the crowd whilst on a folding chair.
Doesn't need much.
Doesn't need much.
You're really missing out if you're not here.
Yeah, I wish we had a camera on him. But as I was saying, this official review brought to you by Good Mojo Tattoos in Beverly, Massachusetts. Schedule a free consult with one of their artists today. For more information, visit goodmojotattoos.com. You can also go to the Massachusetts Foot and Ankle Specialists who treat patients with the most exceptional care. Visit their website at mafootsandankle.com for more information.
All right, so we got Sacramento out here talking about their official review. I see Shock and Auburn having words with the officials. Looks like now our officials are going to go have a think.
I do also see that people in the Twitch feed, Twitch chat, are giving lots of love to the refs right now, saying, shout out to all the refs and officials. Imagine being an NSO on the inside. That can make you dizzy too. Yes, I can attest to that.
Dizzy.
Done it. Yes, that is no small feat. And ref athleticism is underrated. Hey, our refs practice with our skaters.
They skate more than
the skaters do.
At these tournaments, for sure. I don't think we ever read off the referees and non-skating officials for this game, so I'm going to do it right now. On skates, we have Integil, strong female character, Don Scorleone, Reverend Riot, Ridiculix, Recordian, Wicked Pizza, and Decrypt Keeper. And off skates helping our game run, we have Surly Temple, Gluten Freedom, Pussy Panzerfaust, Queen Victoria, Julia Seja, Ziggy Stardust, Riff Raff, Dairy Hair, and Mayor Helen Manson. So thank you, refs and officials. They've worked hard all weekend, and we literally can't do it without them.
Literally cannot do it without them. But we can
apparently can't do it without all those blockers.
Yeah. Well done there, Stone. We got lead jammer status goes to Ariella Twister despite being at a disadvantage with the pack there. And looks like Diamond Cutter trying to make her way through that pack, and the pack is off to the races.
Once again.
Ref athleticism, especially to the outside pack referees, because holy
God
guacamole.
Help them. I think I wouldn't be a ref just for this reason.
Buy them a beer or like 6.
They do work for beer usually.
Don't we all?
True.
Now out in the front, we've got that Houston wall of white holding back Ariel. Jacqueline Heidi, last line of defense in there. Looks like blue was seeking a cut call on the white jammer, but no call stands. We have 14 seconds left on the period clock. I don't know if we're going to get another jam into this game because Sacramento is out of clock stoppages. And
if you're Houston, why stop the clock?
Why stop the clock? You're ahead.
We've already won. Looks like that is a game. No clock stoppages here. unofficial score right now, 161 to 118. So Houston taking the win.
Two wins, two
wins.
losses.
Sacramento ending Lobster Roll 2019 with 1 win and 3 losses, but that's okay early in the season.
Sacramento also coming in as the lowest ranked seed.
Very
so the
true.
fact that they were able to pull off an upset, and it was a heck of a game.
Well, and it was surprising to me, Sacramento beat Dublin, but Dublin beat everyone else.
Yes.
So,
yes, that's an interesting way to put it.
So I
sure.
don't understand how roller derby works at all. I'm so confused.
Rankings.
It's a mystery. In a few minutes, we are going to be here with our last post-game interviews with our MVPs as chosen by the opposing teams. But before we go, New England Roller Derby Report would like to thank their production sponsor, Sociopath, SEWCIOPATH. Sociopath is a skater-run business offering custom sewn-to-order legwear for teams and individuals. Size-inclusive activewear designed to fit you. Sociopath also offers dozens of armband and helmet cover options for scrimmage and competition. Team discounts are available. Please see sociopath.ca for more details. So, thank you all on twitch.tv/WFTDA for joining us this weekend. It's been wonderful to have this stream for you and to talk to you on the stream, and it seems like there's been a lot of fun in the chat here.
A little bit.
A little bit of fun.
A little bit. Twitch is an interesting place, and we are so excited to be part of it. Be sure you go subscribe to the WFTDA channel here on Twitch. Lobster Roll, of course, is the first WFTDA recognized tournament to be streamed on the WFTDA channel, aside from the playoff structure.
And, well, this just about concludes Lobster Roll 2019. We are going to be here in just a moment for your post-game interviews. But on that note, I'm Rosetta Stone.
I'm Scarlett O'Hurtia. We'll be back to you in just a minute with some post-game interviews. Thanks for joining us, folks. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Lobster Roll 2019. I'm Scarlett O'Hurtia, and I'm here with the MVP from Houston, Slayer Moon, who definitely worked for that. This is Houston's final game of the weekend, coming away with their second win. 2 wins today after 2 losses yesterday. So what was so different from yesterday to today?
You mean besides the sleep and the breakfast? We learned a lot from our mistakes yesterday and our shortcomings, and we came back together and brought more positivity, more teamwork, more family feels as opposed to and it really worked out. We calmed down.
Yeah, good things happen when you're nice and calm. So you mentioned the family feel. Not only are you the MVP, but your little sister, Hallelujah, came away with the MVP for the first game that Houston played at the tournament. So it's like the sister act is sandwiching the MVPs for the weekend. So what is that like?
I am so incredibly proud of her. She started skating a couple years ago, and she came right in and was like, gorgeous. She played water polo, so she knew how to take a hit already, but there's something about our bodies that it works for roller skating,
Well, your whole family roller skates, so I think
my brother also played at one point too. Yeah, my dad told me when I was young, he's like, you'd be good at roller derby. No idea what it was at the time. And then when I started skating, he's like, I told you.
Gotta love those parents that are I told you so's. So what are you most looking forward to here in the time that remains in Boston? Have you played in the snow yet?
No. I'm going to play in the snow this evening. I've been waiting. It was my treat for all after the games. I love snow personally, but it doesn't work out for a native Texan. Yeah. I like it.
Alrighty, well, anything you want to say to everyone watching at home as we close out Lobster Roll 2019? Any final reflections on the weekend?
No, just thank you. Thank you to all the fans and volunteers and everybody. We couldn't do this without the community of roller derby. I love you all.
I've been Scarlett O'Hurtia. This is Slayer Moon, the MVP for Houston versus Sacramento. We're going to hand it over to Rosetta Stone, who is going to be interviewing the MVP from Sacramento here momentarily.
Hi there, I am Rosetta Stone, and I'm here to interview number 1006, Nail Her Swift of Sacramento Roller Derby. She is voted Most Valuable Player, received this beautiful award. So, Swifty, even though you lost this game, you guys did a lot of good things, and of course you did as MVP. So, what do you think you did differently that was really successful for you?
I tried to use my agility and their larger size to my advantage, and really just trying to dance around them and move them to the side so I can try and take the middle. And some of the 360s also helped.
Those are pretty sweet, and I think that's smart. You know, you need to use what's available to you, and something we talked about earlier, or I talked about with your team, was the blockers on Houston were pretty big compared to some of your blockers. So my next question, this was the first tournament of the season for you guys. How do you think this sets you up for the 2019 season?
The teams we played were really strong and really talented, and I think the competition it's going to be equal or better as the season goes on. And so we all know that we're going to have to work on working together, skating together, making sure that we gel more and we know how each other works. But I think this was really good preparation. We have Big O next, so.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited to see you guys at Big O. And I have one more question for you, because it's been such a great weekend here with our hosts at Boston Roller Derby, and that is, how did you like Boston?
It was great. I thought I was going to hate the snow, but if you layer up really well, it's actually not that bad. And Boston is full of history, and we did a really cool, self-guided walking tour on Friday, and it was really fun.
All right, well, thank you, Swifty. Great game today, and thank you for joining us on Twitch TV/WFTDA for the first ever Lobstah Roll, and we will see you next time.